welcome back. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Shanna Registered. Every week we bring you news and information you can use on your next real estate transaction. If you missed any of today's show, you can visit us online at HoustonRealEstateRadio.com and see the videos in HD. You can also call us if you've got a real estate question, 844-788-9444. You can call anytime, 24/7, and we'll get your call. And sometimes we answer them on the air. Sometimes we have someone, a realtor or somebody, call you back if it's something specific that we feel like we probably shouldn't air. So listen, we get all kinds of calls. So to this segment, I've got Xavier Herrera here in the studio. We're going to be talking about zoning and planning because he's the chairman of the City of Stafford's Planning and Zoning Commission. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Shannon.
And you've been on the show before, so
yes.
We appreciate having you back on.
Well, thank you for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about what you guys do down in Stafford with your Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay. Well, there is myself, as well as 6 other commissioners that sit. It's a non-paying position.
Elected position?
No, appointed.
Appointed.
We're
okay.
appointed. The officers are elected within the body of commissioners.
Okay.
But they're community members that are quite involved and care passionately about our community. So they want to go ahead and get involved, and that's one of the ways they get involved.
Okay. So you guys make decisions on land use, right?
Correct.
And people. How does that work? What's the process? Is it when they go to buy permits to do something, or is it when it's being listed for sale? At what point do you make that determination?
So when a person comes up and they're going to go ahead hypothetically and want to build a convenience store, a gas station, or for example for us is the TI property that's right off of Highway 59. Person will then go ahead and go to the permit office, submit their plats, and do their things of that nature. Then they'll come before the Planning and Zoning Commission. We'll review the plans, have back and forth discussions on the particular use of the property and whatnot, and then we'll go ahead and make motions for approval or not. Most of the time, though, everybody's done their due diligence, and then we'll submit it for City Council review and approval.
All right, very good. So the city of Houston does not have zoning. That's interesting.
Yes, it is.
A lot of places in Texas don't have zoning.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think it goes to the mantra of, hey, look, this is, don't tell me what to do with my with my stuff,
land.
My land, type of thing. But I'll say this, and I'd be far pressed if I didn't, that I do have an appreciation for planning and zoning. It's nice to go ahead and have certain areas and aspects of what you can go ahead and do within your community. And if the community holistically looks at wanting to go ahead and change it, then we can go ahead and review it and make that determination afterwards. But I know in Houston, as you mentioned, they don't. I'm not going to tell any Houston resident or Houstonian or elected officials what to do in their area, but I know if it was me, I definitely I have an appreciation of that, and it certainly would make issues like the Ashby high rise and concerns of what occurred over in River Oaks and the shopping areas. It definitely make it a lot easier.
And as far as the legislative session in Austin, there are a lot of things that pertain to Houston that wouldn't have to go on the floor there if we had zoning and planning.
Well, that is one. I mean, a lot of issues go before the legislature. It's kind of because they meet every other year. It's just everybody and their grandmother, just dumps everything into it and hope everything gets looked at, approved, and gone off. Yeah. That's the positive spin on this. But, I'll say this. Everybody has their issues. I know Houston has a good amount of issues they have to look at. And if anything, taking certain things out of the table that could help them add more issues that they can go ahead and address or continue to productively look at the ones they've got outstanding. So, One of the things I know as a realtor, one of the things that I think that we struggle with is highest and best use of property. Sure.
We have to look at a property and think of what is the highest and best use for it and try to market it that way.
Right.
And I don't necessarily think realtors are always the best person to do that because we may not be privy to certain things that are being planned for the city.
Right.
I mean, if you look at Houston right now, we have the proposed high-speed rail. Metro's always doing things.
Right.
You've got roads, of course, going in. You've not only got your city road planning and all that, you've got toll roads and TxDOT. I mean, there's lots of different entities. So there's no way for any one realtor to know everything out there going on and to know that everything's being factored in. Whereas if you put that land before a committee that knows about all those things, they could say, yes, that's the highest and best use. As a realtor, you know, like if I look at a piece of land that a homeowner bought or maybe they inherited it. It's been in the family for years and years, and now they want to make it a commercial property.
Right.
They feel like they bought it for $200,000. It should be worth $1 million because now there's a road coming in beside it, and it's hard for the realtor to make that big decision. I mean, it really comes down to what will someone pay for the piece of property.
Right.
And it's hard to explain that to a homeowner who feels like their property should be worth $1 million when everyone's coming in and offering them, $600,000, for this piece of property they bought for $200,000.
Sure.
And also another thing with real estate is you're having to market the property.
Right.
So depending on what you think the property would be best for, I may think that property is best as a convenience store on the corner of two streets. That could be a great convenience store. Someone else might think it would be great for some sort of restaurant that doesn't exist in the city. Somebody else might think it would be great for a warehouse, for something that's located close by. Everyone has a different idea of what it would be good for. And so it's hard to market it in all these different directions.
Well, that's the reason why I like planning and zoning, because I'm sure you've gone to certain areas of town and you'll see one Starbucks right across the street from another Starbucks, which you'd kind of scratch your head and go,
why did that happen?
Yeah, why did that happen? I'll say this, as a realtor, I'm sure you work hand in hand with the Houston Realtors Association as well as a number of other groups. But for the city of Stafford, I know we have a comprehensive plan. And you also have the Planning and Zoning Commission. So I highly recommend that, not that I'm saying your realtors have a lot of downtime, but I mean, if they're in the area, even if they have just their assistant call up, hey, where can I take a look at your comprehensive plan, see what you're planning on doing. For us, we just finished a 25-year plan a few months back, and obviously you're going to tweak it up here and there as time goes by. So working with your association, working with, if you have an idea, for example, we're predominantly commercial as a community, so you look at that and you work with the chambers of commerces, kind of identify this. I'll say this though, that we're sandwiched between Highway 59, we have 90, we have 99, so it's not one of those things. We're not anticipating another freeway being built anytime soon.
What would it take to add zoning back? We already have planning, but what would it take to add zoning back to Houston? Because I guess we had it years ago. And then it went away. It was
right. I think that was in the 70s, 80s. But I would imagine that you'd have to go ahead and obviously get a good consensus of folks to go ahead and believe, number one, that they need to go ahead and have it for them, and obviously set it for a November election and have the people vote on it, and then after that, go through the process thereof. Bringing it back.
So real quickly, down in Stafford, you guys do not have city property taxes and you don't have mud district taxes.
Correct.
So how do you guys fund what we would use for property taxes? How do you guys fund things?
Well, we haven't had property taxes since the 90s. And in this aspect, we're predominantly commercial. So we take in sales tax. Sales tax being 8.25%, so it's not as though we're higher than Houston or Sugar Land or any of the other municipalities around the area. But we're fortunate that there's a lot of businesses in Stafford, and they do their due diligence. So the warehouses that ship off their little widgets and gadgets and whatnot, we collect those taxes, and we're able to, the whole hope of Mayor Scarcella is that people will save that money that they would have gone and paid the property taxes, put that back to their homes to improve the valuations of their own property.
Very good. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, well, it's worked so far.
And y'all are able to fund your school district, so it's working.
That's true. The school district, they've done their due diligence in what they do. So, yeah.
All right, we appreciate you coming on the show. Xavier Herrera, he's the chairman of the City of Stafford Planning and Zoning Commission. We appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me, Shannon.
All right, we'll be back after a word from our sponsors here on Houston Real Estate Radio. If you want to give us a call, 844-788-9444.
People often find themselves in need of storage and moving, but don't want the hassle and stress. Sound familiar? Well, at Zippy Shell, we make storage and moving easy. Zippy Shell will deliver a storage container to your home or business. You load it at your leisure, and we'll take it to one of our safe, convenient storage facilities. Or ship it to your final destination. We treat your stuff like it's our stuff, because we understand you're not just giving us your belongings, you're giving us your trust. Zippy Shell. Storage and moving that makes life simple.